Thank you very much for joining me. I came from Israel for this conference. It's really interesting to see different people all in the spiritual quest. In Israel, I'm more known because I did an experiment that showed that I can live as a breatharian. But before I start, I have to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you a story. It's amazing, there's only girls. There's just like a few guys. It's a very feminine country as well, I like that. Israel is a very masculine country, there's a lot of war, a lot of money involved with a lot of stuff, the Jewish mind, as we know. So, I'm going to tell you a story. I know some of you think that they already know a lot of things about Breatharians, whatever they read about Jasmine and other Breatharians in the world. It's very important that we open our mind completely, understand that there's a lot of social programming that we have been taught that might not, or it might come in conjunction with what I'm about to say. So there's a lot of questions going to be coming up. It's really important to open up completely, hear everything, and then see where it fits. Some of the things I'm going to say make a lot of sense, but we've just been programmed differently. So I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Ray Maor. I'm author of the book A Year Without Food, which I wrote last year. It is my first year of my Breatharian experience, which I was much more extreme when I was learning this energy. Nowadays I'm a little bit more calm. I'm much more balanced with the Western world, because the Western world gives a lot of difficulties for the Breatharians. So I decided to balance myself so I can explain myself much better. And once you stop eating, you become somewhere up in the spirit, and it's really hard for you to go down and even have normal communication sometimes with people. So this is my spiritual life. I decided to become a Breatharian when I saw a guy that actually did it. Once I saw it, I understood what my belief system became clear to me that it is possible. He has taught me, he was my master for 21 days that I did a long fast in isolation by myself. And I decided to do it because I understood that I'm the type of person that has a scientific point of view. I can relate science and spirituality together, and I can explain myself much better. I have two legs really, really strong in the planet, you can say. So people can communicate with me. Other Breatharians are really, really somewhere high, and people look at them, or society looks at them as unnormal. And that once you are pinned with the unnormal, nobody wants to actually listen to you, because sometimes you have really gold and marvels to say. So I'm a spiritual guide, I'm a lecturer, I give workshops here and in the world, usually in Israel. In 2 months I'm going to be in Holland, in next year I'm going to be in the States. And in my other life, which is half of my life, I'm a computer programmer. I'm a team manager. I've been doing it for about 17 years. I was 5 years in the Israeli military. I finished as a lieutenant. I'm a scientist, and I'm also an artist. First thing I want to tell you that about 2.5 years ago, I'm a Breatharian for about 3.5 years now. 2.5 years ago, somebody came to me and told me, Ray, I don't believe you. I'm willing to put a bet. I'm willing to bet you $100,000 that you cannot prove that you're a Breatharian. I said, okay, and I put an intention. Intention meaning I did not think that he's actually serious, because he wanted to do it a one-side bet. If I lose, I don't have to pay anything. So I told him, okay, I'm going to put an intention, meaning I'm going to send a vibration of intention to the planet, and I expect it to bring it back to me sometime in the future. And about 6 months later, a television show contacted me, and they wanted to have an experiment. An experiment that I met with a few doctors. We changed 4 doctors. None of them wanted to do it. They all thought that it's something that is inhuman to starve someone. They told me that about 3 or 4 days into the experiment, no food, no water, I'm going to die. My blood tests are going to change significantly. They gave me real numbers telling me the discount and discount is going to be like that and that. And so we decided to do the television show. We decided to go for 8 days with no food or water. Every day they took my blood samples. I had 8 cameras all around where I was. I was marked exactly where I'm supposed to go. I was filmed inside the toilet as I shower, everything, to make sure there were really, really strict rules. Shower only above here. I had the glass that I had to mark a line on when I was brushing my teeth. So I will rinse it and spit it back and show the camera that I returned it to exactly the same line. Really strict rules. And this is just a few minutes of the summary. It was an experiment that was in Israel. About 300,000 people watched it. It was the first Western Breatharian experiment that was successful. There were a few others that have failed. So I'm just going to share with you just the last few minutes of the show. It was a really exciting time for me, by the way.
ריי נח מעט, ואז אני לוקח אותו לאיכילוב, לדוקטור קיציס, כדי שהוא יסכם את הניסוי.
שב, אהלן.
האמת שזה תוך שעה פתאום חזר לו הצבע.
כן, גם לידיים, גם לחיים.
לא סיפור? אז נשב 8 ימים? 8 ימים מלאים. 8 ימים מלאים. לא אכלת כלום. לא חתית כלום. החזקת מעמד למופת. בדיקות המעבדה שלך היו תקינות לגמרי, גם בהפרשים סבירים. הייתי סקפטי מאוד, שלהערכתי ביום השלישי הרביעי גג, היינו כבר צריכים לראות שינויים בדם, היית צריך להרגיש עד כדי כך רע שהיינו שחשבתי שביום הרביעי חמישי אני אפסיק לך את זה בצורה כפויה, בגלל מדדים לא טובים שציפיתי למצוא ולא מצאתי ככה את אלה. ואז קיציס אומר את המילים שריי כל כך חיכה לשמוע. אני בהתחלה הזוי, עדיין הזוי, אבל עובדה. זאת אומרת, אפשר להתווכח עם חבר שלי את זה ככה, ואני מכריז עליך מנצח פה, אין לי מה להגיד. באמת, אין לי מה להגיד, אז אני שפו על כל הדבר הזה. לא הרבה אנשים יכולים לצום, לא לשתות, לא לאכול, אפילו לא רק לא לאכול.
ושלא ינסו את זה בבית, בבקשה.
אל תעשו את זה בבית.
The diet was actually pretty amazing. We had a lot of arguments. The whole experiment can be viewed in my website. My website is the 10-day process. I'll give you cards. They have them on if you want to see. And they have a lot of information about breatharians. I'm just one example of many different other ones. So before we go into that, I would like to start with our human energy sources. Most of us think that we are only nourished from food. You're hungry and you think that your body needs it immediately, but actually the body can last without food for about a month. After that, without water, a few days, 3 days to be precise, unless you do a breatharian process. After that, oxygen, a few minutes, and then you die. And last but not least, prana, or what we call chi, a different type of energy that everyone has in some sort of level. Most people have between 1 and 3% chi, or energy. This means that they need everything else. They need to be able to breathe more like correctly. Remember, little children breathe in the right way. They fill their stomach up. And we as adults, all our emotions are stuck up. So we breathe only from here, which will only fill our lungs for 20-30%. But everyone has a sort of percentage of chi. We can elevate that percentage to a really, really high level. I know people, for me, I'm about 80, even 90%. And that doesn't mean that I don't eat now. In the first year of my Breatharian experience, I decided not to eat anything. I used to drink. I drink a little bit juice. 2 or 3 times a week I would make a shake. Most of the time was on nothing. Meaning not fasting, but on nothing but the air I breathe and by the consciousness and the feeling, the emotion that comes with it. Because you will see, when you are in love, when you are in a project that keeps you in the moment, when you have a good time, you're not really hungry. When you're on the dance floor enjoying life, you're not really hungry. In the beginning, you understand that this is just like me being excited, but no, you are being energetically nourished because you are in the moment and your soul is in the moment. The human experience is the one that is always in the past or always in the future. We are afraid of what is going to happen tomorrow, we build expectations, and then we manifest those expectations. Or we think too much about what happened and we analyze it and we criticize ourselves. But when you are really in the moment, you feel so alive that usually you don't really think about hunger, you don't really think about food. And when do we really eat because we're hungry? When the physical body says you are hungry. It is really rare. Most of the time we eat because we are bored. We eat because it is time to eat. Oh yeah, it's 2 o'clock and time. And everybody, all my colleagues are going to eat. But if you will notice, when are you really hungry when you go to the fridge? It's usually out of a habit, out of emotion, everything like that, but not real hunger. So a lot of people, like therapists, people who are healers, they have a higher percentage of prana. But the normal person is really used to only eating. You will see that a lot of people Some of them eat exactly the same. One of them is really, really fat. One of them is really, really skinny. Can you explain it except for metabolism? Metabolism is not that much variation. It is about energetic nourishment and other sorts of nourishment. So, the human food energy types. Most of the people eat meat, so they're called carnivores. After that, there's vegetarians, vegans, raw food, 80-10-10, which I haven't added here, fruitarians and liquidarians, which actually take all the fruit and make juice out of it. The more you go up the scale, the more energy the person has. This is explained by the fact that the sun is the source of energy of all life on Earth. Let's try to look at the sun a little bit differently. When you eat an apple, this apple was grown from a tree, and this tree only absorbed water and sun. It took the tree a long time, but eventually you are eating a different form of sun energy. When you are enjoying the warmth of a fire, you're actually enjoying the fire that is the sun, that manifested itself inside the tree for many, many years. And the more you step away from the sun, the more impure the energy becomes. For example, if you eat an animal that has eaten the apple or that isn't eaten another animal, then you're actually a few levels away from pure energy. And if you are a fruitarian or a liquidarian, you're actually only eating the healthiest or the most energetic type of food, without taking into consideration that you're going to lack carbons or vitamins or anything like that. So this is the first scale. The second scale is Breatharian sun gazers, which most of you probably encountered for the first time with Breatharian. In Israel, there's only 50. Around the world, there's tens of thousands that did the process. Some of them, most of them, went back to eating because it's socially unacceptable and it's really, really hard. I will explain more after. The difference between the two scales is that this scale does not necessarily need food to survive. They are no longer hungry. I haven't been hungry or full for the last 3 years. It means that if and when I eat, I usually eat because it's fun, because it tastes good, it's because it's with company. But most of the time I decide not to eat. For example, in the last 2 days I had just a glass of a shake that the girl that got me here gave me. But I'm not hungry, and it's been like that for about a week. Every second day, third day, I drink something small, and I'm feeling really, really energetic. So the first year, I decided to take this journey to the next level. I wanted to experience it. Really, I wanted to forget this addiction that I called food. I wanted to learn how it is to be only on prana and see how my body is going to react. And actually, it was a great experience for me. But once the first time I ate, I said to myself, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. Because before that, I took food like fuel. Oh yeah, I need to eat, okay, give me something, I'll do it quickly, I'll do it in front of the television, I want to do it consciously. I won't pray to my food, I want to be gratitude to my food, I won't change the water molecules in my food to be better when I consume them. And now I take food much more seriously, like it's a spiritual practice. I enjoy it, I smell it, I take it really, really slow because I'm not hungry. So this scale doesn't get hungry, it doesn't get full. It means that if I eat, I don't have the sensation of full. So I can eat just a little bit for the pleasure. I can eat a lot. I've already measured, my limitations in the first times that I ate 2 years ago. And in the beginning, when I went back to eating after a year, you have to understand, you completely forgot everything. You only drank. Only drank is no texture. It means that I didn't have the junk food I enjoyed. I didn't have the healthy food I enjoyed. I hadn't had ice cream. I hadn't had chocolate cake. So the first thing I ate was like a pizza. And I ate like a huge pizza. It was me and another friend that was also in the Breatharian, and he also wanted to go back to eating. In the first month, I decided to eat once a week. And after that, I decided to eat twice a week. And now I'm about that. Between, about twice a week, which is good for me. Now, the beautiful thing is that I thought that the body is going to get used to it. But it feels like you're just pushing the food out of the body. Meaning, usually after lunch, everybody is becoming tired, and the consciousness goes down a little bit because this is what food does to us. And for me, I just ate, and I felt energetic as before. I understood that my body is not used to it. He's used to having his engine on all the time, the engine of the prana. So, see, there's two engines. The first is the regular nourishment, what we all know. And there's an ancient, dormant engine. Most of you already know what I'm talking about. you can reduce your food by half right now, and you will live more fulfilling life, healthier life, less disease, less toxins. And the only way I can explain what toxins is I can tell you that there's like a guy that's responsible for the stock in the body. And this guy is receiving the packages of food or drink or whatever. So he receives the package and then he puts it in his storage. This is his storage room, okay? And he doesn't have much time because the other package is coming on the way. You know, the whole process takes about 10 hours. So he says, okay, I ate in the morning and then I ate at lunch and then I ate in the evening and every time, okay, I'm going to organize it later. Okay, I'm going to organize it later. Maybe I'll have time, organize it later. And then what you have is like this huge mess in your stock all the time. And nobody has ever time to clean it up and organize it. This is why the English word breakfast is break fast. During the fast, the body actually cleans itself. If you have a pet, a cat or a dog, you know that when they get sick, they stop eating completely. Why? It's normal for them in nature. They're programmed this way. But we, human beings, because we have the free will, our mom or our grandmother tells us, eat, you will get stronger, eat, you need your energy. But your body doesn't want it. You feel sick. You don't want to eat anything. You're forcing yourself. But you're actually making the situation even worse. In all major religions, there are fastings as a way to connect with God, as a way to cleanse yourself. Only in the last 1,000 years it became about suffering, because if you're religious, then you should suffer. You should suffer seriously. But in the beginning, in the Indian way, for example, it's still like that. We clean ourselves. And after about a day, you no longer have the starvation, you no longer have the headaches, you don't no longer have, you feel much more clean, and the body starts consuming everything that it has. You have fat, you have muscle, you have water. There's 70% water inside of us. You can go on a long time without water. Much more than most people would think, until you die. At least 3 or 4 days, for example. So life energy, so chi is actually life energy that everyone has in some percentage. And you can increase that percentage. First, by consciously accepting that you are actually living, sustaining yourself from a smaller part of energy. Second, by doing spiritual processes. For example, my workshop is a 10-day workshop that I will explain later. When people come out of the workshop, and it's not just people like me that are between the scientific and the spiritual world, it's completely normal people that just want to investigate and learn within themselves their own abilities, break paradigms. Currently, it is impossible to measure. Such is love. You cannot really measure love. If I ask somebody, do you love your mother? I say, of course I do. Can you prove it? Can you measure it in some way? We cannot measure it, but we can see that some people have their eyes just a little bit more open. And you can feel a certain energy and vibration from these people. And when I met the guy that eventually taught me, I saw it in his eyes, and I understood something that is very fulfilling. In the process, we understand about the 4 bodies. The physical body is the body that we all know, what we see in the mirror, what we think, what is a part of the illusion of the human experience. The emotional body, as we know, is a body that is slightly above the physical body, and it influences, it touches the physical body. Meaning, when we are feeling negatively emotionally, we can get hungry, we can get depressed, we are more open to having diseases. When we are optimistic, when we are happy, when we are fulfilled in our life, then our physical body will also react in that way. And then you have the spiritual body. I can sum up the spiritual body as how much do I understand that I am a person in a spiritual path versus how much do I understand that I am a spirit in a small human experience. When you understand that you're a spirit in a small human experience, then things are becoming much more clear to you, and you stop seeing yourself as the ego, the mind, in the center of everything. And the emotional body, I can explain in a sentence, will say, how much do you let your emotions control you versus how much do you control your emotions? Are you a master of your domain? And I can tell you that women, for example, have fluctuations in the emotion state, and guys are much more unaware, or they go inside their little cave because they don't really want to show their emotion. So every sex has like these limitations, and the purpose for us is to unite. For men to discover the feminine side, for women to discover the masculine side, the logical side. And each one of these bodies has his own nourishment system. For example, the physical energy, we already know. Emotional, when we have positive emotion or high quality connections with other people, then we are nourished from that. When we have mental energy, mental is the body that is responsible for our belief system. It is the one that is above everything. It is the one that is connected to the higher self, the one that gets the intuitions of what I'm supposed to do. Many of you probably have this feeling that when we think too much about a subject, when something really bothers us, then suddenly we decide to go for a walk. Suddenly we decide to forget about it. And then our subconscious gives us a solution. The solution just comes up. And we think it's our brain, our unconscious, our dreams, everything is so amazing. But it is the higher consciousness. It is a part of us, or you can say, we are a part of it, a small part of it. And when we decide to let go, surrender, bow, and understand that we are just the small part, then this thing starts giving us a lot more information. Downloads. We, in the spiritual world, we call them downloads all the time. So you have also spiritual energy, having a why to live, shared and value purpose, awareness of values. All of these things are nurturing us. All of these things nurture us all the time. So who is the Breatharian? Has anyone here met another Breatharian, by the way? Only read about them? Cool. So how much prana? A lot of people tell me, but so you don't eat and you don't drink? And then I tell them, no. Today I eat. I eat occasionally. I eat for taste. I eat for the fun. Not because I have to. If you would count scientifically, I had about 3,000 calories intake before I did my process. And after I did my process in the first year, I really wanted to do it in the scientific way. So I measured, and I saw that I'm drinking about 400 or 500 calories through juice or other means a day. And then I went to the doctors in the experiment, and they tested me, and they put me, I went into meditation, and we saw how much calories I'm actually spending, and they said that in meditation, complete silence, I'm spending about 2,000 calories a day. Add to that about my physical activity, my love life, everything else, it becomes 1,000 calories a day. So about 3,000 calories a day, but I take in 400 or 500 and I don't lose weight for about a year. So we try to understand, how is this possible? 2,500 energy units according to science. And I can tell you that until today, we don't really understand. We have a lot of theories. There's another thing. The Breatharian does not need to consume vitamins or minerals or carbs or anything else. It does not need to balance. It doesn't need to think, oh, I missed something. Everyone that does the process takes a blood test after a few months, and we see that everything is okay all the time, because we feel it also. We don't know how to explain how the body creates it. I can only think that maybe the body already has a different source, or it knows how to transform energy or water into whatever it needs when the consciousness believes that this is so. And our belief system is really important. You know, some people can cure themselves from cancer by using their belief system. I don't get sick for the last 15 or 16 years because I believe I'm healthy. I believe that in my incarnation, I don't need to be sick. I already understood that a long time ago. And this is why it's so easy when you believe and you understand what your belief system is, how you play around with it like it's Lego, like it's plastilin. So why actually eat after? We eat for the experience. We eat because it's fun. We eat because it's social accepted. Or we eat because of our mothers. Okay, like Friday evening in Israel, everybody meets all together. There's holidays that everybody meets all together. You know how depressing it is sometimes to sit when everybody else is eating and you smell the food that you enjoyed so much. And for a year, I did nothing. I was always saying no, and society didn't accept it very well. In the beginning, I lost a lot of weight. I lost about 10 kilos in the duration of 3 months after my process. And I was skinny, and it was a big challenge. To look like an Indian and having your girlfriend tell you that you're crazy, and having your parents tell you that you need a shrink, and having everybody want to measure your weight and say that you're okay. And after a while, if you remain strong, then suddenly you gain the weight back. And we all go back, all the Breatharians, to exactly what we call the ideal weight. And we get stuck there. Doesn't matter if we eat or we don't eat. My ideal weight is about 82 or 83 kilos. I can go up, down, drinking water, eating other stuff, maybe a kilo, maybe less. But there is no fat or overweight Breatharian. The body becomes an ideal, just like a factory that knows exactly the size of the stock room. Too much size, you begin employing too many employees, a waste of money. Too small of a size, you can't handle all your orders. So the health reasons: toxic free completely, a calm digestive system. I no longer have a definition of breakfast, I no longer have a definition of lunch or of dinner. Usually during the day I don't like to eat anything in the morning or in the noon. If I will eat something, it will usually be in the evening, and not every day. Sometimes when I go abroad, when I go to these workshops, I eat every day. Sometimes I don't eat for weeks. It really depends on the mood or what I want to do. A lot of us are the pioneers in this because the Western world only has this for about 20 years. Most of it was in India. And I can tell you it's much, much easier in India. When you are a yogi and you go up in the Himalaya mountains and everybody knows what yogis are and they understand that they can live off energy. In the Western world, you have a pizza place in every corner. And you have a lot of your friends going out to restaurants, and it was socially difficult. The girls I used to date, some of them didn't like it because I ate less than them. And my friends didn't call me all the time to go out, and I was like, shit, I can come with you guys, I can drink, I still drink beer if you want, but it was difficult for them to understand. It's not something that everybody understands. Balance, getting everything that the body requires at any given moment, which is amazing. It's like right now I'm being nourished because I'm excited, because I'm upstairs, because I'm explaining to you what my path is. So I'm being nourished energetically. Freedom and independence, this is one of the things that was the most important for me. I want to know that as a human being, I am a soul, I am a spirit, I am detached from any real necessity. I live a life of happiness, happy for no reason. Meaning I don't need a reason to be happy, and if there is a reason, I try to visualize how I can live without that reason, so I can be detached, like the yogis, like the monks. I can know that my happiness is independent. So I wanted to know how I can get rid of the most, the biggest illusion, the biggest attachment we have, because since we're little kids, the first thing we do, we cry, they give us a boob. Eat. And after that, when we complain, we cry again, they say, okay, he's hungry, eat. And then we get this emotional attachment with food all the time. It's something that we are born with. And I wanted to know that I'm not addicted to anything. I wanted to know, wow, if this is really possible in the Western world, and it seems much more simple than what I would think it would be. Because the guy that taught me, he wasn't at all different than me. He was normal. He was really, really happy, that's all. Other advantages, this is the one I love the most. The more time. Because you stop eating, or you eat considerably less, your digestive system, which is the heaviest system in the body, has energy all the time because it doesn't need it. You take about 20-30% of your energy towards the digestive. So it means that now I can sleep less. And usually I sleep between 4 and 5 hours a night, and I wake up naturally. Now, there's no shopping, there's no cleaning the dishes, there's no cooking or dining, there's even going less to the toilet, once every 3-4 days. So you have about 4 or 5 hours every day on your 24-hour schedule that you can clean up for whatever it is you want. If you want to go watch television shows, fine. If you want to work more, I took it towards a spiritual practice. More meditations in the morning, 5 Tibetans in the morning, more help in these workshops and stuff like that. But this is a good gift. This is like a gift of 1/6 of your life. The second thing is that it extends your life. Obviously, when you live a healthier life, when you eat so little, the body always knows how to clean itself, always knows how to clean itself. So you have less disease and expanded life. There's a scientific research about it. It's called caloric restriction. They made it on rats and other mammals. Freedom and detachments, less dependency. Confidence. When you do the process, so for some people it's not that easy. In my process, there's 10 days. We go gradually between 1 day of fruit, 1 day of juice, 1 day of water, and then 4 days without anything. Now when you're doing this resting, it's not a problem. The body knows how to take the water from different parts. And this water, if you remember the research of the Japanese guy, Dr. Imoto something, he said that the water keeps a type of memory. And the deep water inside us keeps the memories of what we used to be, okay? All the traumas, all the happy points, everything together. So when you take 4 days without anything, the body still cleans itself and still uses the water. And you're starting to feel emotions that are deep down inside, and you go through a cleansing process, which is not just physical, but it's also emotional. This is why there's 1 day of Vipassana, complete silence for the whole day, everyone. And another half day of something that we call a karmatic process, which we go back in our memories, and all these people that we have some sort of karma and negative karma with them, we forgive, we love, we handle our stuff. And this thing takes hours and hours and hours, and everybody comes out just like a butterfly, which is amazing. So we have more confidence. We finish this process. First thing we say to ourselves, you know something? I did it, and it's easier than what I thought. The second we say, wow, become more self-aware, more connected. Because you probably notice, when you eat, you go down a little bit. Also in the energy, and also in the consciousness. And the consciousness is what elevates us, is what is very, very important in our human experience. And right now, this world is based a lot of fear, is based a lot of bad food, not the food we ate like 1,000 years ago. Processed food that is with hormones and other things. But even if you eat the cleanest and the healthiest food in the world, you are still in a state that you have some sort of stress in your life. Work. And you still eat the food that has been transferred by carbon dioxide emissions from trucks. And it still has been touched by different people. And if we are talking about food, I always love to give this example. There is a way we feel about food. Like we said, we are broadcasting emotions and vibrations into the water. Okay? So when you have an apple, or let's give you for example, a guy that only eats raw food, he doesn't want to eat any more raw food. He's judging himself. He's tired of this, okay? And he eats an apple, and he doesn't really like the apple anymore. He says, wow, I miss everything else, but I'm doing this because my friends told me it's going to make me a lot healthier, and because I believe in it, it's a philosophy. Or a little girl that is enjoying a bisli, you know, the type of sweet junk food that little girls eat. And she's enjoying it, she's excited about it. She's like, yeah, mom, give it to me all. And she loves it. And the energy she puts into that bisli is much better for her when she eats it than this guy that is judging himself eating the apple. This is why in all the religions we used to pray for the food. We used to give gratitude for the food, so it will get the energy that we give before we eat it, before it becomes ourselves. Breaking social paradigms and strengthens the individual. I can tell you that 15 minutes? Thanks, man. We're going to skip a lot. Breaking social paradigms, just imagine, it's socially difficult, like I explained before. But when you really stand in front of people and you explain to them that you're feeling good, you're feeling energetic, everything is okay, and you pass this, you become stronger. You become much stronger. And in the bottom of the list I put saves money, because it does save a lot of money. But this is not the reason why we usually do it. Some people actually do. The spiritual reasons, I will go into the bigger ones. It's to prove to yourself that mind really also over matter. And when you learn how to manifest, how to play with your emotions, you really understand that the emotions and our thoughts and our belief system are all combined, and you learn how to play with it in other parts. You see, this process is not just about food. It is a process about consciousness, a higher consciousness, connecting to your higher self, becoming who you were supposed to be. And that's exactly what happens in the end. Other famous Breatharians, this guy is the only one I know that is without food or water for the last 70 years. He's an Indian guy. This guy, he does marathons. He's an English guy. He's called Jericho Sunfire. This is Jasmine. I'm also in contact with her. We're friends. She's very famous for being the one that invented the 21-day process. So there's a lot of them. If you want, just research it. It's pretty amazing. I have a workshop 2 days from now on Monday. I will have much more time. We will practice some meditations. We will practice practice our manifestation abilities. We'll understand, and there will be a lot more time for answering questions and everything like that. I'm going to pass between you guys like a list that has a name, email, phone, and comments. Whoever is interested in doing one of these spiritual processes or wants to learn more about it, just put your name in it. And whoever is interested for me to send him the presentation or other information, a link to my website and everything like that, you can also put it. I'm putting my card, which have my email address and has my URL, meaning my tendayprocess.com. And whoever wants the address for this workshop that we have in 2 days, it's in these little things here on the side. So I'm going to pass it between you guys. Voila. I'm going to continue. So, anybody want some more time to write it down? Good. This is my book, The Year Without Food. This is the new cover. This is the old cover. I like this one better. I'm selling it here for about 200. Generally, I'm talking about my first year experience. Understand what is the energy of prana. Understand the different processes. I did a much more difficult process called the 21-day process. I was fasting for 3 weeks by myself, secluded in nature, and I only had a guide that talked to me once a day. Today, the 10-day process, which is the next topic, is much easier. We do it socially, we do it in different parts of the world. And learn how to become a mind master. So if anybody wants, I will be outside right after this, because they usually kick us out because there's somebody else coming. The 10-day process. These are two processes I did in Israel, just in the last half a year. As you can see, normal people. I know, from 20 years old until 60 or even 70. The process is easy for most of them. Some people find it difficult. I would say about 2 from every 20 have more difficulties physically, usually. Because in the dry fasting days, we're weak. The body knows how to take advantage of all the water that is left. Your tongue becomes more dry, your pulse is faster, and your, how do you say it? Lachat dam? Help? Blood pressure. And your blood pressure is being lowered because it knows how to use its resources much better. This is also the cleansing time because you have to do a reset. When you change the engine in your car, you take the engine, you put it in a shop. The people work on the shop, work on the engine, and after a week or two you get the new car, and then you take the car out for a test drive. And this is exactly how it works. When you revive an ancient engine, you have to understand that there's a week or two of adaptation. You'll be weaker maybe. Some people want to go back exercise immediately, maybe it takes a few days. But after you go back to drinking water, suddenly you realize that you have energy from a different source. And a lot of people will usually tell you they feel they heal themselves, meaning things that didn't used to work now work, because you had toxins built up inside and nobody knew about it for many, many years. Some people say that in meditations, they go much faster into the zone, Usually we have the mind that is tricking us and is talking, and then we go to the zone and say, oh, I felt it, and then back to the mind. So now it's much more clear. You go to the zone much faster. And the 10-day process is my own creation because I saw that most of the processes in the world, they do not offer more things for people to understand the scientific aspect. And they don't teach how to manifest, how to really play with the emotions and the belief system. And this is what's the most important. And they don't teach how to deal with the outside world. The process is just the initiation. After that, you're no longer hungry, you're no longer thirsty. Now you have to know how to explain yourself, you have to know how to deal with social situation, you have to know how to live with your spouse, with your children, how to live with the knowledge that there's always food that you really enjoy in the fridge. And in the first few months, you're not supposed to eat it at all until your body will get used to it. And after that, you can start being more innovative with food. Some people, I know there's a chef that is a Breatharian. The only thing he does is taste, It's amazing. Like, these people really play. We play with our life. So the easiest thing I can tell you is that it's a mastery of the 4 bodies, meaning we work on the spiritual, the physical, the emotional, and the mental. I am the master of the mental. I have another guide that is the master of the spiritual. Supporting breathing exercises and guided meditations every morning and every evening. This is the only mandatory thing that I ask people to show up for. In the evening, there's also a sharing circle, so everybody gets together, and you need to understand that the type of people that come to this are amazing people that we learn from. Everybody goes through a difficult time together, and they become really, really strong friendships, There's one day of Vipassana, as I explained, and a very unique karmatic cleansing. If enough people will want, in a few months, I'm going to do the 10-day process is in Holland, actually. Whoever is interested in the 10-day process, there's huge brochures here. There's also links to the website and the guy that is organizing it because I'm not local there. Immediately after that, if about 20 people register here, I will come to do a 3-day workshop here. Now, it's important for you to know me a little bit more as a guide. So whoever is interested and wants to see more of my videos and stuff like that, just take one of my cards. Go to my website, I upload something. I upload a lot more things in Hebrew, but if I see that there's more crowd in English, then I'm beginning to understand that my goal is to start expanding myself. I've been called to come from New York, I've been called from different places. So if you do want a workshop, write it down and let us know, and we will see how many people, and then I will arrange so my plane will come from Holland directly to here, and from here I'll go back home, instead of doing the long way, you can say. So, thank you for listening, and we still have a few minutes for questions. I know I didn't cover everything because there's a lot, but it was really important for me to have a few minutes for questions. So, who's the first brave one? Yes,
You said that there was a Breatharian, there was a marathon runner.
that's right.
Are most Breatharians exercising?
It's really individual.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we really encourage them to exercise, otherwise, we become really skinny. Like, if I would take my clothes off, you'll see I'm only muscle, I have almost no fat. But most Breatharians, like normal people, some of them choose to exercise, some of them don't. But I noticed that I don't grow in mass, in muscle, because obviously I don't put enough in my body. So many women, it's amazing. Is it because I'm cute?
That was a bonus.
Thank you. Come on, you have more questions.
Do you have to have a lot of prana in order to become a Breatharian, or does your prana grow?
It grows. Well, immediately after the process, I would say you jump to about 60 or 70%. And then you know how to balance it. And whoever wants more, they will insert less and less, but it's really important to do it over a longer duration of time. This is why we take about a month or 2 months. Some people are natural. Most people that come because they already know the register to this type of process, in the first day they're already not hungry. Like it's finished. They finished the process, they just came to have a good time to play with it. But it's not just the process of changing your mindset, it's the physical thing. The 4-day dry fast, after exactly 3 days, the body learns that it can be nourished from the consciousness. Meaning it understands. It's not that I live from the small amounts that I eat. It is the fact that I have another engine, and that engine has to do with the belief. Yeah. And most people come with a doubt. I also started with a doubt. It's kind of scary. And you look at the guy that already did it, and maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'm not strong enough. But it's good, because this doubt, after 3 or 4 days, it suddenly disappears. And everybody's doing it together. And the intention of the group is so strong that the energy is high. Because before I did a group, I did single people, like one at a time. And each one has its own difficulty. But when you are in a group that they all believe that they can do it together, even when one is always the black sheep, we can say, is always complaining, but it's not possible, and how is this, and stuff. In the last day of the week, he's already into it. He said, I don't understand this. I'm waking up in the process, it's amazing. There's energies outside of here that are involved in the process when somebody wants to do it. So we sleep really, really 2, 3, 4 hours a night, a few people. And they started sleeping like this and say, I don't understand how this is possible. I want to walk, I want to run, I have all this energy, and I don't understand from where. And I explained to them once again, but it's so difficult when somebody is on this planet for 30, 40 years to change his mindset. So he has to experience it for himself. This is what I did. I know I can climb the Everest, but knowing is not climbing the Everest.
And also it goes against everything you've been
It
told.
does.
And
I know.
science.
That's why I had to do it by myself. I saw the guy. I went to festivals with him. We used to dance 3, 4 days, and I said, this guy doesn't eat. He hardly drinks, and he has more energy than me, and that is really rare. And he's always happy, and he's really calm, because we have to understand afterwards that if we go into a negative emotional state, we might become hungry. And we don't want that. We want to stay calm. Now, as you can see, I'm not here, like a small child, but I'm really high, and I'm always peaceful there. And you will see also the monks and the yogis are in the same place. They don't allow themselves to go down. They're just in the same place. Everything's okay. Exactly. It's like even if something bad happens, it's karmatic. It's a type of the perfectness of reality. There's a lesson to be learned, and you start seeing everything in a very positive and optimistic way. More question? You all satisfied?